I love Mario. For those who haven't talked to me for more than 5 minutes, he has been with me since the beginning, and was one of the main reasons I got hooked on video games. If you were to hold a gun to my head and tell me to name every single Mario game ever made, I'd probably die, but I'm confident that I would at least come close to naming most of them. He got his start in Donkey Kong in 1981, then Wrecking Crew in 1985, later going into Super Mario Bros. In the same year, then Super Mario Bros. 2 and 3 being released in 1988, rolling into Super Mario Land in 1989, then rolling smoothly into 1990 with Super Mario World, and then again re-releasing Super Mario Bros. 3 for the Switch. With the hundreds of thousands of games out there, it's safe to say that the Mario brand, name, character is a strong and ongoing franchise that, to this day, refuses to die out. But how and why did he get so big? Well, in video game enthusiast eyes, it is because the character was always made in tandem with games that were for their time groundbreaking. Obviously, he set the standard with 2D platformers with the Super Mario Bros. Series, and a lesser known but addicting formula that was the Dr. Mario series for puzzle games, but what I am here to talk about today is the 3D Mario games. If you were to ask me what my favorite Mario game was, I would first ask, who are you and what are you doing in my house? But then I would put it to 3 games, all of them being 3D Mario games. Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario Galaxy, and the revolutionary Super Mario 64. If it weren't for this game, Odyssey and Galaxy would just be ideas floating through deep space with very little substance or flair. But that's where 64 came in. Nintendo 64 was released in 1996 in North America, and with it came Pilot Wing 64 and Super Mario 64. The game was touted for being the breakthrough of 3D platformers in the future, but enough drowning on. Let's get to the game.
It's me, Mario! Hello!
It starts with Mario being invited to Princess Toadstool's castle for a cake, but when he arrives at the castle, he is welcomed to an ominous laugh, and a castle with a child's room aesthetic similar to that of Andy's room from Toy Story? It is up to the player to set off and collect stars to take on Bowser and save the princess. The game is divided into 15 worlds, with a couple secrets hidden around the castle, some of which lead to different recurring power hats that grant Mario different abilities, that all of which are pretty self-explanatory. There is the Wing Cap, which grants Mario the ability to fly, the Metal Cap, which infuses Mario with the power to play through the fire and the flames on Guitar Hero at insane speeds, and the Invisible Cap. Moving on, as I previously mentioned, the game is divided into 15 worlds, and a few of my favorites happen to be Bob-omb Battlefield, Cool Cool Mountain, Dire Dire Docks, and Tick-Tock Clock. Each level has its own unique quality and atmosphere that really bring the whole game together, except for maybe 3, but I boil that down to memory and data restraints of the typical N64 cartridge, and the music, which is still a nice listen for its time, that really helped me immerse myself into the worlds I was in with Mario, and the tracks in tandem with the stages that I mentioned were some of my particular favorites. One final thing I would add for this game in particular is how it looks, and yes, while it may not look as good as something like Uncharted 4,
the resolution involved in that requires a lot more work and a lot more thought and a lot more time. It's not just, any old dirt will do. It's a very specific dirt, and how wet is that dirt? How many pebbles are pushing up in that dirt?
the game is still very eye-pleasing despite the prolific amount of polygons that are enough to make any child think this game was made of Roblox or something. But I believe that that's what made the game unique outside of its stages. And speaking of which, there are a series of stages that aren't the collectathon levels as aforementioned, the bosses. Each boss is repetitive, but again unique in how it approaches the endless battle between plumber and dragon, and that the player has to grab him by the tail and throw him into bombs scattered around the arena, almost like Mario is practicing for the hammer throw event in the Olympics.
Here we go!
My experience with the final boss, which was a completely normal and non-cheating route that I put the work in and just couldn't be bothered to get the last few stars, isn't anything too impressive outside of the stage breaking, but it has such a satisfying ending and credits theme that to this day is enough to make a grown man cry.
Mario! The power of the stars is restored to the castle. And it's all thanks to you. Thank you, Mario. We have to do something special for you.
Here we go!
Listen, everybody. Let's bake a delicious cake. For Mario. Mario!
And so, as we bring this journey to a close, I would like to end it with a few parting words. Mario is a universal symbol of gaming that was responsible for so many great titles in childhoods, mine included. I'd like to personally thank Nintendo for creating such a beautiful game that without it, I wouldn't have even better games that were cherished throughout my life. From the new Super Mario Bros. To the Mario Karts to even the Mario Paints. But don't even get me started on how supported this game still is. From the millions of mods still being made for the game, to thousands of speedrunners, to some YouTubers who even got their start by making childish videos with the game's characters. It's clear to see that I'm not the only one who had a lasting relationship with the game. These qualities and more are why people not only love Super Mario 64, but Mario in general. He is a totem to all things great in gaming. But I'm starting to sound like a broken record. Until next time.
Thank you so much for playing my game.